Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle, going through all my annual superhero sort of related UK annuals. Now, I'm not going to go through every single page and preview every single one. That would take so long. So I'm just going to go through some of them. So this one's Marvel Comic Annual, and this one's got some really nice stories, and it's got some weird stories as well, because it's actually got things like the Atlas stories, Submariner, which is quite an odd one. So that one's Goblin. So you've got some Spider-Man, you've got some Hulk, you've got various things, but also you've got, and it's got the contents here right at the front, you've got Captain Marvel shown there. Of course, Captain Marvel doesn't actually be it, and I love how someone just put Superman there instead of the Hulk there. Also, you've got Silver Surfer as well. Silver Surfer doesn't appear in it either, which is very odd. Got Captain Marvel even on the front cover. So at some point, I think they were obviously assuming that Captain Marvel was going to be in it. Even got the name wrong, Spider-Man, not with the hyphen. This one's a slightly odd one as well, and this must have been around about, because it's the television picture storybook. This was 1967, 68, and you've got stories in there. The colour scheme is very odd in places, quite a lot. Poor old Reed is looking very, but you've also got some odd stories in there as well. Some unusual artwork. You've got a Black Bolt story. Some weird choices as well for the storylines. And that's quite often the case. You would end up with these stories and you wouldn't know what happened. Unless, of course, you went and bought the US comics, because we wouldn't have had the UK stories, wouldn't have been up to. This one's Marvel Annual 1974. Well, at this point, Spider-Man obviously had his own comic, I would assume. I think he did by that time. So, obviously, that's why he was on the front cover. Clearly much more important than the Hulk, etc. So you got Spidey there, he even gets the first story. And some great little stories in this one. You've got Daredevil as well, which was unusual. Good old Daredevil. Love Bill Everett work there. Always enjoyed that story. Though a lot of people were not very keen on that artwork. I always Giant Man as well. What an odd choice. So Giant Man, and also a special feature even. So I wonder in some ways, were they thinking about bringing those stories in? Giant Man, Ant-Man stories, which they didn't. We didn't see those stories. That's lovely Ramita work there. Got some Ditko work there. So a lot of Spidey. This was near enough the Spider-Man annual, even though there was no Spider-Man annual at that point. And you've got the Fantastic Four. Of course, these were the characters that turned up in the Mighty World of Marvel in the UK. Now, we've also got these ones. Some of them did feature sort of superhero stuff, some sort of UK superheroes. Also, they had stories with also sports as well. So you had record breakers there, obviously Bobby Charlton and others. But we've got our own superheroes in here. Sometimes some of these ones have actually, like Johnny Future and those sort of things. But this one's a four-legged crime buster. So you've got some great stories. But Smash did have some superhero stories. They were like Fantastic Four and those sort of things. Well, I think, however, here's the Smash Annual 1969. And this one features, again, some sort of oddball stories. This one, Inferno. Weirdly, this one does not feature any American superheroes. You've got Rubberman as well. So these are all UK ones. Again, ones that I don't know if they ever turned up ever again, because I don't think they were regulars in the actual comic book of Smash. However, the Fantastic one. I love this one. Actually, I love all the Fantastic annuals. So Fantastic, this one's 1971. The thing with these, they often suffer from some very weird colouring. Again, they really messed around with it. I don't think they just got the colour. They must have got them in black and white and decided, well, we don't know what the colours are. And we just, I mean, poor Marvel girl, blonde with a white mask there. Not even the best of stories. I mean, this was during a period of the X-Men that was pretty odd. You got the origin of Doctor Doom, great story, of course. Someone decided to pencil that. Again, slightly colour in there. And then you got this one, suspected of murder, Hawkeye, Black Widow. And also, of course, they're the X-Men and Thor. And now these were the ones that are obviously in the Fantastic comic. So they feature in there. And likewise, they feature in this one as well. So I love this one. I mean, just that blue. There was something about that blue that was just absolutely magical. Just glorious. Now, that clearly, obviously, is the from Jack Kirby, but at the same time, clearly been changed a bit. Weirdly, you've got, Doctor Strange is in it. How odd. Doctor Strange there. And you've got some other character, I have no idea. They just suddenly stuck that in there as well. Magneto strikes. Again, the colour scheme is always very, very odd. You've got Magneto looking very strange there. Of course, the one with the poor old Mastermind looking even stranger there. The Temple of Zendaka. And some other stories, and you've got another, of course. I love this one. This one, the Blob story. Absolute classic. Of course, we did this had this duotone look. This one of my favourite stories, Ditko. And they never mentioned who the writer was or the artist. Completely. So that was obviously there. And likewise, Doctor Strange. That's probably why they featured Doctor Strange. They got confused. Wasn't the same Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange on the cover. They're not the same as this Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a villain. And also you had the comics as well. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So that was pretty good. Now this one's Superboy. This was an unusual one, probably 1950s. Superboy annual. And we had these weird ones. And sometimes they're in black and white. And they're actually quite crisp. Reasonably nice, actually, that one. I don't know the artist there. I think it was like Alex Toss and Gil Kane, I think, whatever. Someone was. So you've got Superboy there, some weird colouring scheme there. And again, you've got another Rex and Superboy. And some more Superboys. Obviously, it was Superboy annual, so as well as Rex down there, as it mentions. You've got Rex there again. I would say that's Alex Toth. Just the way that the dots. Yes, I'd say that's. Though, I don't know. There's part of me that thinks he looks like Gil Kane. I'm hopeless with telling artists. However, there's bits of it that look another one. No one would ever come to me for advice about what comic artist, because I'd be looking at, no, I don't know. No idea, it could be anyone. Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, he did it. So, Super Adventure Annual. Now, this one has a mix of various stories. You've got Aquaman, weird choice, but still an Aqualad as well, no less. But you've got the Peter Pup Tent Explorer. Now, they always had this Jimmy Olsen. You've got special offers there, Book of Space Adventures. And also Green Arrow. These are probably stories from the 1950s, etc. I've seen the Casey the Cop. These were obviously minor, small, short stories that they did. And Flash, obviously. This was very early days, but obviously probably Showcase, maybe. I don't know. But that was great. I love that one. This one, Pow. Now, there were no Marvel characters in this, even though it sort of looks a mix of like Cyclops. When you pick it up, you think, oh, Cyclops. Maybe it's X-Men. No, it's not. Could even be an angel with a bit of the wings there. But it's got sort of British superheroes in it, so all the way through, Hunter and Hunted. And again, with this, if there's any annual you want me to go through and go with a bit more detail, please let me know in the comments. Always happy to go through them again. But obviously, I'm just going to go quickly through some of these. I'm not going to take too long going through them. Otherwise, because there's quite a few. When I went to do this initially, it took me about half an hour just to get through about 4 annuals. And I thought, no, that's probably not a good idea. So, Marvel Storybook Annual. Now, this one's an odd one because it's all just text. And it features some very weird drawing as well. Sometimes some of the drawings look like they're from the comic books, and some clearly are not. That's a very odd-looking Spidey, I have to say. And you've got a very odd-looking Submariner as well. So that's a very... But still, it's a nice one. That's World Distributors. They did some... I think I've got 1 or 2 annuals still missing of that period that I would love to get, but I think the prices are just insane, so you can't get everything. So this one's POW, and the colour schemes again, this are very weird. You've got the Hydra one, obviously the first story of the Hydra there and Nick Fury. And also, let's just go, you've got this one, the early story, obviously a Spidey as well, done slightly unusual colour. They always messed around with these as well, quite a lot. If you compare the omnibus editions and you think, why is that panel there when they've just moved them around a bit? I don't know why they spent all that time and effort. But still, I guess they had to fit them in a certain size, and they had all these other ones as well. Just strange. However, POW, again, another one. Obviously, this time, Spidey was so important. Weirdly, POW, this one, that was 68. Oh, that's 68, that's why. This one's 1970. Obviously, clearly at that point, they realised that Spidey was the big selling point. Though, of course, at that point, I think Spidey had left POW. It just continued on probably for a bit, I don't know. But there was Sergeant Fury there. Weirdly, I think they actually mentioned it was Nick Fury, but of course Sergeant Fury. The Nerves, that was in that one. Cloak and the Cloak Woman. But you had some very odd, and this one, the Looter. Brilliant bit of Ditko there. Spidey. Again, the story there. And this one, the colour scheme is weird. You got Fantastic Four in red, and poor old the Thing, he's in grey. Isn't that pretty sad? God knows what they would have done with Doctor Doom at that point. He would probably been yellow or purple or some other colour, probably. Anyway, you got the Sensational Spider-Man. The Sensational Spider-Man? Wasn't he the Amazing Spider-Man last I checked? I don't know. Who knows? But also, and battling Nick Fury. Now, was he battling Nick Fury? But however, because it wasn't Sergeant Fury. Very confusing. They just really, I think they just put these together. But you got some stories, obviously British stories as well. And also, again, they messed around with the panels. And they messed around with the panels in this one. And again, slight odd colour choices as well. And I think they've got odd story messed around with this one as well. The panels were all over the place. But that's that. Now this one's a Superman one. This is a storybook. This is weird because it's just all stories of Superman. Just text. So you've got text stories here. Not stories that I think that obviously were ever from the US or anything. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't know. Very weird artwork anyway, at times. That is just plain weird. The way they've drawn that, it looks like Superman's legs. Oh, maybe that was what the villain was doing. Sort of weird, some crazy. However, TV Comic Annual. This one, of course, doesn't feature any of these superheroes, but it's a connection with superheroes and science fiction kind of thing because of something, because of this sort of thing. I don't even know what that is, but it's got some Doctor Who in as well. Got a Doctor, and a very weirdly printed Doctor Who as well. That one's got, I mean, look at that. That's got that sort of jarring way that the printer's gone. However, this one's got John Pertwee in. This is another Doctor Who, again featuring some very weird villains that I've never seen before. Animal Magic, Texas Ted, Animal Magic again. And also a Tarzan story as well. So you've got an exciting Tarzan story in there. So TV Comic was one of my first and favourite comics. I loved TV Comic. And I always loved getting the annuals at Christmas as well. Always great. Christmas time, get the annuals. Now this one is a more recent one. This one's got some nice little stories of like the Avengers as well as some other stories. And my favourite villains, AIM. I love AIM. AIM are always my favourites because they're just super brains, super intelligent. And what do? They waste their time making all stupid inventions to rule the world instead of just making vast amounts of money and helping people. Wouldn't that be easier? They could have probably solved all the world's problems. But no, we have to spend all the time creating MODOK or whatever. Who knows? Whatever they do. Or the Cosmic Cube. Or the Infinity Gauntlet, probably. I know they didn't make that. But still, Express Annual. Super Colour Annual. Now, this one's got Carl the Viking in. Some unusual artwork. Some stories, gun law, etc. Matt Dillon, US Marshal. Now, I'm not certain if these stories were drawn by UK artists. I'm certain they were. Obviously, the Carl the Viking was. But this one, Clive of India, etc. But some of the stories you think, I wonder if they're from US comics. I don't know. How? This one's Superboy, and this one's got, again, with Bobo, the detective chimp, no less. Oh, this one's 1967. And actually features Supergirl. Superboy meets Supergirl. Very weird way of actually how he could have done that. But anyway, also they had this weird colour schemes again. Superboy when he was a boy. How would he meet? Doesn't matter. Not even going to confuse myself on that one. Superboy meets Supergirl. And then you got Dr. Rocket. Again, these were all stories, obviously short stories that they had there. Again, another story there. And not superhero in the slightest, but one I loved. Wacky Races. Always love those. Motor Mouse. And they were just great little stories. Dick Dastardly and all those sort of Penelope Pitstop, etc. Just great. And plus, this, of course, these were all probably from Gold Key Comics, I think. Vaguely remember all those sort of ones. But great little stories. And I remember reading them at the time. I loved them. Now, these ones got some sort of superhero / action adventure stories. I'm not going to show them all because they're all like, I could go Tiger Annual 1970. This one is a lion. Some lovely artwork in this. Just absolutely great artwork, like Carl the Viking there. Just stunning artwork. 1963. This one is more sort of text stories and things. You've got typical text stories of that period, plus obviously some comic books there as well, and some great illustrations. Oh, this one is Roy the Rovers, of course, fairly famous over in the UK. This is 1960 annual. You got the Lion annual 1965. Obviously, all action adventure, obviously the war. And also you got this one, which is a very odd one. Very thin, not really an annual, but a comic album, no less. 15p as well. Ooh, expensive. Suitable for colouring and growing. Luckily, it wasn't. But you got Iron Man, you got some Thor. You've also got the Hulk and Submariner. Very nice. I love the actual, very nice quality. Really quite sharp, actually, the thing. And this was quite an unusual one. I think there was another one as well. I haven't got that one. There's another comic album. I'm certain there is. This one features Thor, the Hulk, and Iron Man. But that was a colouring album. Fantastic again. Another one. This was the mid-fantastic. And again, weird colour schemes. And also some unusual artwork there. So you've got Annual 69. You've got the Locust. I love that story. So that was a good one. Human Keep Out. Obviously, Thor battles the Incredible Hulk. Iron Man. So you've got some lovely, weird colour schemes there. Prophet of Doom, obviously Steve Ditko. Again, not saying who the artist. None of them do. It's weird. Now, this one's pretty good. This is a good old Johnny Future. And I love the Treasury of British Comics. Just recently brought out one. Brilliant. Worth checking out. Just a superb collection of stories. Johnny Future. That one. Another Superman. This one is, I have no idea because it doesn't say, and maybe it did have the year there, but it doesn't unfortunately now. And you've got stories here. Obviously, World's Finest. You've got how to be a super artist, very useful. I always love these ones where it just draws a line. Very easy to do the, of course, oval, and then mysteriously it becomes Superman. Yeah, sure, super easy. I mean, I can draw quite reasonably well, sort of. I like to kid myself. Anyway, but I suspect that my Superman probably not look remotely like that after a few. But anyway, I suppose it's, oh, I love this. Legion of Superheroes. You've got a nice little section, the origin and powers. And you've got Origin of Bizarro World, more Superboy, etc., Superman, and all those sort of things. So great little stories there. This one was a weird one, Project Sword. And the only reason I bought it was for the, well, frankly, pretty garish artwork inside. I love that. I haven't actually read it yet. I just got it recently, a week ago or so. So I get to read it. But it still looks quite good. But I got it mainly because I saw this. Saw some lovely 2001 Space Odyssey and also some great Zero X. Well, I'm not really familiar with Zero X, I must admit. But again, very garish psychedelic colours. Now, weirdly, I got an annual at the same time, Captain Scarlet, which has got very similar garish artwork as well. So obviously, clearly in 1968, that sort of period, garish artwork was the name of the game. And also, of course, it's full of great little pictures and articles and rest Angel, aircraft, etc., as well as more. So I love that psychedelic writing. Clearly at that period, 1967, 68. This was a weird one. Whopper Space Stories. Now, this is more a text thing, but there's a few comic book bits and pieces in there. I should have finished. I'll finish with that one because that is probably the best to finish with. Valiant, Annual 1975. Obviously, Kelly's Hero and all that sort of stuff. Kelly's Eye, not the film. One or two. Jane Stark, Tubby, I don't think that story would probably be so much in demand nowadays. Raven on the Wing, and so on, so on. Lots of Kid Pharaoh. And let's just go to this one for finish off. This one, Fantastic Four Comic Annual. I'm not certain, this was probably about 1970, I would say, but it had some lovely stories. Doctor Doom, obviously there, Doctor Doom again. Probably some more Doctor Doom. Obviously the Mole Man, never a favourite character of mine, but quite a lot. Very faded, the ink there. My favourite, loved it, is Wonder Gloves. Good old hurling the own powers magnified me. Why you never use those again? Sort of like you abandoned them. Which is a pity. You should have made a super version of them, make a real sort of combined powers of the Fantastic Four. You should, of course, combine the powers with Crystal as well. That would have been good. However, to finish, and I've got lots of other annuals, but I'm not going to go through those because they're more, sort of all over the place, like Dandy Beanos, etc. Maybe I'll do one for those as well. But like I say, any of these annuals, please let me know if you want further about them. Marvel Annual, this is 1972, 73. This was the first, as far as I was concerned, annual that was related to the mighty world of Marvel that we had in the UK. And I love this one. This was just an absolute crackingly good annual. Brilliant. Black and white, of course, in places. Some duotone. Got black and white. Just brilliant. Just the Hulk there. But weirdly, I don't know if it was connected with the mighty world of Marvel or not, because, of course, you had this Conan story. And I didn't know Conan at all. at that point. Conan, who? Really did not know Conan. I mean, I was only 9 or 10, I can't remember now, but it was certainly that sort of age. You got Terrible Tinker again. Terrible, obviously a popular story. However, you also got Daredevil. Now, I'm certain at the time Daredevil hadn't turned up. He might have done, maybe. But the Birth of the Fantastic Four, they had a lovely one there, obviously featuring those little pictures there. And Fantastic Four there. Kurgo, Master of Planet X. Brilliant bit of artwork there. I love that. Of course, the Hulk again. And all the way through, this time to Spider-Man. And a weird story with the Scorpion, which was an odd choice. Scorpion. Not a character that particularly, because these were long, you would have thought there would have been a few other stories they could have chosen. However, Scorpion is what we got. But this was an absolute, and it said Marvel Annual. Didn't say a year. Very odd. I don't even think it says in the year anywhere in here. Oh, it does. 1972. Typical. There it is. And weirdly, Submariner. Really? Nope. No Submariner whatsoever. Why did they do that in these things? Why put a picture of a character? It's like when often you get like Giant Man or something in it and you think, why did they do that? Or Conan. And then not give any further detail about the characters. Most strange. I don't know about the back. Anyway, that's one of my favourite annuals. I love that one. Absolute. I love the red. But again, the Hulk's an odd choice because, of course, in the next one, they put Spider-Man. Much better choice, I guess, in many ways. Probably Spider-Man would have been more familiar. But they chose Hulk, and a very small Hulk as well. And a very odd choice of a cover, personally. And also on the back. Bit of a waste, I think, in many ways. If you're going to do a cover, why not do a cover with, say, the Hulk, but on the back, Fantastic Four, or Spider or something, to reuse it? Weird. However, hope you found this of interest. Like I say, please in the comments, any of the annuals you want me to go through a bit more detail, go through it and describe it, a review of it, etc. Perfectly happy to read. I've read all of them, bits and pieces. I wouldn't say every single story. I mean, some of the stories are pretty, you can read for about 3 seconds and you know that story's not going to be that great and you think, well, pass on that. So, but this one I have read lots and lots of times, and all the Marvel ones, definitely. So, hope you found this of interest.